To the first story. Please call my manager. It finally happened to me. I was in a popular department store today where the employees wear red shirt and khaki pants. I had just gotten off work, so I was in my gray scrubs and a black jacket because it was cold outside. I think I should add that I had my purse on my shoulder too. Clearly, no one with functioning eyes would assume I worked there. You'd be wrong. I'm at the checkout, standing in between the two rows of checkout lanes, where the magazine typically are, looking for my mother, who I was shopping with. She says she's going to grab something else and will be right back, so I just stand there for a minute to wait for her. I make eye contact with this lady walking down the aisle, and she asks me which lane I'm on. I said, I believe she's open at register 2 and point. Well, the lady comes up next to me and starts loading her groceries on the belt at the register nearest to where I'm standing, which is unoccupied, so I repeat, I think she's open over there on register 2. She slams down her items on the cart and said, "You're not going to check me out?" Ma'am, I don't work here. Checkout lane if you weren't running a cash register. I wasn't even standing at a cash register. At this point, I just kind of look at her and think, what the actual duck, lady? She fumes for a minute and says, "So, am I supposed to get these groceries back in my cart by myself?" At that point, I say, it's not my responsibility to help you. I'm sorry. I'm waiting on someone. And walk off. I go off to look for my mom. And when we return to the checkout to pay for our items, the lady is there holding up the line and is giving the cashier grief about how the employees just let anyone run a register these days, and that they need a manager who keeps a better eye on the store. Well, the poor cashier just stands there looking confused. At least my evening wasn't boring. Well, if it was me, I would have let her unload her whole cart and then walked away. On to the second story, a weird encounter. Happened yesterday as I was filling my Uday pickup truck for the USA types at the service station. I had been working out my B, so I was dirty, sweaty, and tired. I had an old stained t-shirt on, shorts and thongs, flip-flops. I no way looked like I worked there. A young 20-something woman, hereafter Karen because, hey, why not, pulls up to the other side of my fuel pump. She was dressed in sharp business style, complete with the high heels and false nails. Karen, "Fill my tank when you're done there." And she starts to walk inside the store. Me, I don't work here, lady. Karen, I don't care, just fill the darn car. And then she storms off inside with a clatter of high heels. I just shrug, finish filling my tank, and head inside to pay. I have no ducks left to give these days. It might have been different if there had been some common courtesy used like a please or thank you or a could you please possibly help me. But brusque orders are the absolute best way to piss this old guy off. I head to the counter and see Karen is already waiting there to one side. Me, number 4 pump. Karen, and I'm on number 5. The guy behind the register looks surprised. Cashier, there's only one sale for number 4 pump. Me, yup. As I hand him my card. Karen, he filled my card too. Me, nope. Karen instantly goes from 0 to Uzi, red face and shouting because apparently I had defied her command. I told you to fill the ducking tank. Jesus Christ, are you ducking, stupid? And so on. Me, oh look, tramp, I don't work here, I don't work for you, and I most certainly don't take orders from arrogant C-words, so get out there and pump your own ducking fuel. She ranted some more, I left, too tired, don't care. So I'm still trying to work out exactly what her problem was. I have never encountered this level of self-centered arrogance before. If anyone has any ideas, I would like to hear them. If the poor cashier is reading this, mate, I'm really sorry for leaving you with this psycho. I'll come by next week and apologize in person. Well, my guess is that she probably expected you to pay for it too. The third story, possible urban legend. There was a second-hand shop a few streets from where I live that had been there for years until the owner retired. After that, it briefly became a coffee shop, and by briefly I mean about like 8 or 9 months. But because of the location, it wasn't popular, so it was doomed to failure. After that close, the guy who owned the property decided to convert it into a private house and sell it. Within a month of the coffee shop closing, the property is sold and someone moves in. The story I heard, and no, I'm not entirely certain that it is true, is that as the guy was moving in, literally with a house moving van carrying boxes inside, this crazy woman walks in and demands a latte. She's standing in a private kitchen that doesn't even look like a working cafe, entirely blind to the fact that, like an entitled wuss name. I wonder if she asked to speak to the manager. It might just be an urban legend, but having read about other people's experience with Wild Karen, maybe there's a grain of truth in it. Well, if the owner isn't a coffee shop anymore, she would certainly have demanded to speak to his manager to have him fired. The fourth story, mistook ghostly apparition for my boss. I swear honest to God, I thought this person I saw worked there, but I was wrong. I even scrambled to my feet to get up and address them. Bit of context. This was 4 years ago. I work in caregiving in what is called an ISL for the intellectual, mentally disabled population. I do everything from cooking, medication distribution, grocery shopping, basic housekeeping, adult diaper changing, and bathing, etc. I'm a glorified nanny, and we staff are sometimes the only family they have got. Management was iffy, and the office management were brutal. They have what's called pop-ins, where management can come up unannounced to see how we're doing. This helps against theft of narcotic meds, money, abusing the disabled, etc. The company can send any manager anytime and all doors are unlocked and open overnight. Where I worked, it was this beautiful 5-bedroom home, open concept, upstairs bedroom, then 2 downstairs. It was nice. It even had a visiting room. I wish I had a house nice as this one. On to my I don't work here lady / ghost story. I was working a long shift. I was in like 11th hour in, but I was fully awake and conscious. I started my day at 9 a.m. and when this happened it was 10 p.m. I wasn't that tired. I've worked longer, harder, and I wasn't always on my feet. I was in the visiting room, taking a break with my shoes off watching YouTube videos. My female coworker was in the living room, laying down watching TV. Our individuals / people we support were all asleep. There were 4. Down the spiral stairs in a mostly dark house comes this younger male, thin, aged between 18 and 24. His hair is neat, and he passes by the guest room and said, "Hello," like he did it on a regular basis. I had been looking down on my phone and almost didn't catch it. I was thinking, oh crap! I scrambled to put my shoes on, put my phone away, and got up to see where this random pop-in manager went. He had gone down the hallway, but I didn't want to wake the individuals sleeping in their rooms. Managers were required to check on them upon arrival, so that's what I thought he was doing. I couldn't find him anywhere, so I asked my coworker where the pop-in manager went. She must have seen him, because I would have heard him walk in the front door. The back door was visible to my coworker when she was in the living room. Like I said, open concept. She was confused. What manager? We searched the house and I told her what I saw. This dude didn't match any description of any of our individuals and he essentially vanished down the hallway that had no alternative back door. The only explanation I have, it was a ghostly apparition. My coworker laughed at me after this. I had resigned shortly and moved to a different company after for unrelated reasons. Maybe the spirit sensed I was leaving and wanted to give me a farewell? I'm not sure, but I swear to God, I saw a guy from the corner of my vision walk down a flight of stairs and down the hall like he was a pop-in manager. We would have heard him enter either in the front or back, but we didn't. Well, thanks for reading, lol. Well, I don't know what to say. That was terrifying. Scary. The fifth story. Karen gets me fired from my job that I don't have. Thanks, language barrier. I'm in my late teens. My dad works at a fancy makeup brand selling really expensive makeup in a mall I frequent. One day, after doing some shopping there, I figured instead of taking the train back home, I'd wait a few minutes until the end of his shift and then go home with him, saving my sweet train fare credit. I entered the shop and he sets me down on a chair behind his counter so I can wait for him, and he goes to the back. I'm sitting there alone on my phone. All the employees of the particular brand are in the back and it's not very busy. I'm fairly scrawny, about like 5'3", wearing a graphic t-shirt, shorts, and a pair of clumpy dogs. The employees wear nice black shirts and gray trousers. I am quite clearly not one of them, or so I thought. I put on my headphones, listened to some Reddit stories on YouTube, check my messages, blah blah blah, absolutely engrossed in my phone, when a lady taps me on my shoulder. I look up, surprised, and there she is, Karen, Chinese edition. If you're Chinese, you know this woman. Snobby, pearl-clad, and spends a lot of her husband's wealth on skincare products. You speak Chinese? She asked rudely. I'm half Chinese and my Chinese is fairly basic. I can hold a conversation fine, but I certainly don't know how to discuss high-end makeup products. I'm confused by her question, but reply in Chinese, yes I can. Karen signs and begins chattering about different products she wants and starts bluttering different meaningless numbers at me. I, of course, have no clue what this mad woman is going on about and tell her something along the lines of, I don't understand, and this isn't my workplace? Once again, my Chinese is crap. What do you mean? She barks, then continues on her spiel about different things I very much do not understand. I don't like confrontation, so I just repeat, I don't work here, to no avail. Susie, who works at a different counter and speaks Chinese, notices the drama and interrupts the woman. Of course she doesn't work here, she's a kid. Normally, in this situation, an ordinary human being would apologize and seek out an actual employee. Unfortunately, as we all know, Karens aren't normal. She sneers at Susie, who is the sweetest person ever, and demands my manager, which was difficult for me to figure out, as it went something like, I want to talk to, word I don't know. What? I cannot understand you. I want to talk to, word I don't know. Eventually, Susie informs me she is asking for my manager and calls over Edna, the manager, who is a white woman who doesn't speak any Chinese. Awesome! Karen realizes that Edna probably only speaks English, so communicate angrily through Susie. Susie translates something like, this woman thinks OP's service was terrible because she doesn't speak any Chinese. Just to clarify, this was in North America. Edna is very confused and the irony finally hits Karen, who starts looking uncomfortable. Edna asks Susie to give her some free samples from a fancy makeup brand and send her on her way, which she does, and Edna leaves. Karen grumbles to Susie that I should have been fired, so Susie turns to me and said, in Chinese says, Opie, you were a terrible worker. You are fired. I catch on quick as I door this subreddit and adopt, oh no man, sad face attitude as I pick up my bag and leave the shop. I decide to take the train back after all. Ironically, I was hoping to get a job in the shop while in university, but I guess Susie firing me will make it difficult to be hired. Joke. I mean, though it may sound funny, the problem with people doing this is that it just kinda encourages Karen involved and makes them think they have the power to get someone fired. The sixth story. No, I don't sell that, but that is probably a good advice. So, I was on vacation in Asheville, NC, and we were walking around the city. We were stopped by a stranger on the street who said he was from out of town and asked if we knew where to buy some 420 plants. I said no, we were from out of town as well. He apologized and turned to walk away, but just before he did, he turned back around to explain. I'm sorry, I asked in that vape shop if they knew somewhere I could buy from, and the lady just told me to find any guy on the street with a man bun and they'd probably have some. We got a big laugh out of that, and everyone I know who lived in Asheville confirmed that strategy would usually work 9 out of 10 times. Well, at least he didn't demand to see your manager. On to the final story. I sent Karen to aisle 10 in an 8-aisle store. This happened years ago when my wife and I lived in a mostly African American neighborhood in Detroit. I'm white and my wife is black, totally relevant to the story. I worked for the city government as an officer manager and wore a white shirt and tie every day. I also usually had a pen or two sticking out of my shirt pocket, so if I stopped at a small local food store after work, I naturally was often mistaken for an employee. A fellow shopper would ask where an item was, and I would reply with a polite "I don't work here, lady," but knowing the store layout, direct the person to the needed product. Almost every time, the other shopper apologized and I would smile and say, "No problem," fully understanding their assumption. Almost every time. Then, I met Karen. I was shopping after work one evening, crouched down to read labels on items on the bottom shelf, when I felt someone grab my upper arm. I looked up to see her, the rare urban Karen. This Karen was a middle-aged black woman with sunglasses propped up on her head in a rather nice-looking outfit that hinted at a middle-class status. Still holding my arm, Karen demands, "Do you speak English?" I'm stunned and confused. I look up at my attacker and instinctively answer, "Yes." Then I assume that this Karen not only thinks I'm an employee, but also Chaldean Arab as the store's owners. By the way, I was friends with the owners and their family and knew all of them spoke perfect English with only a Midwest American accent like mine. Well, I'm surprised that any of you, insert slur for Middle Eastern people here, can understand English. Karen hisses. I stand and Karen lets go of my arm. Where is the whatever product she wanted? Without hesitation, I tell this bigoted Karen, well, it's in the center of aisle 10. Without a thank you or any other word, Karen looks up at the aisle 2 sign overhead and turns on her heels in search of aisle 10 in a store that has only 8 aisles. I head for the checkout, and as I'm paying for my purchases, hear very loud, "Where the hell is aisle 10?" from the far end of the store. I was sorry to stick to friends, the owner of the stores, with the unhappy task of dealing with Karen after I left, but we had a good laugh about it the next time I went shopping there. Sorry, not much drama, but I liked it. Well, this totally belongs in r/petty revenge as well. That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time.